Welcome to today's episode. Today, let's talk about what I have titled, When Did You Start Your Fake Life? Is it in high school or in college? For those of you who do not use high school or college in your country, is it in secondary school or when you were in the university? Because whether you like it or not, at one point in our lives, some of us have had to fake it in life. And we are also very conversant with this saying, fake it till you make it. Is it supposed to be a thing? Is it a thing that is now acceptable worldwide? And how does that affect someone's mental health? Have you ever seen anyone trying to fake it till they make it? Do you think it's okay? Do you think it's a practice that is very sustainable? Or is something that the society has forced on us? Where today's episode is drawn from is from this short clip I'm going to show you guys shortly. So we can all, or you guys can be the judge. Is it fair really on that man? Was Femi Otedola fair on that man? Or is it just about, you know the saying, perception is reality? Is someone's perception of you really your reality? Or even if it was your reality, is it wrong for someone to come just the way they are, in their truth and in their dignity? Was it going to be okay if that man had gone to rent a car, borrow clothes, just to fit into what he thinks of him? Watch this short clip and let's discuss it after now.
In his recently released book, Making It Big, Mr. Femi Otedola shared a very remarkable story of a young guy who was recommended to him, I think in the year 1996. And so he invited this guy over for an assessment, and the guy showed up in an old Volkswagen Jetta vehicle, right? And this really wasn't befitting. Okay, so first impression. Now they got to talk, and then this guy gave him a bill of about 965,000 for the job, which was actually very big money at the time. And it didn't take much time for Femi Otedola to realize that he could actually take advantage of the guy. And so what he did next was that he crashed the price down to 400k, and then in the end they settled for 500k. And so before the guy left, he told him, "Do you know why I priced you the way I did?" He said, "I priced you the way I did because in business, perception is reality." He said, "The way people perceive you is the way they relate with and treat you." And then he told the guy that he gave himself away when he drove into his house in an old Jetta vehicle to come secure a huge money contract. And so Otedola told him that his perception of him was that he was still struggling in business and would gladly accept his offer, no matter what it was. You know, I smiled when I read this because I keep saying this, and I've been saying it for so long, that nobody will give you more money than they think you have handled before. Now,
like I said earlier, was Femi Otedola really fair on that man? Or is it just a general practice in life that perception is reality? So whether it is right or whether it is wrong, it is a thing. It is something that is widely practiced, so it should be acceptable. Why was that man not judged by what he had to offer, what he came to bargain for, whatever deal or whatever contract he came to get from him? Why was he not judged by the quality of the work he was going to bring to the table? Why was it not? Why did the discussion not go by, okay, let's see what you can do? Why was he perceived by what he drove to the place? Why was he perceived by what he wore to the place? I guess that was part of it too. And in case you don't know, things that influences people's perception of you is your appearance, is your communication, is your behavior, and is your context. And my question remains that, is people's perception of you really your reality? And if that is what is acceptable generally now in the world, so we will all have to step up our game. And if it takes us to fake it till we make it, then it is what it is. Because why is that man not being given what he is due just because of the car that he drove? That was what he had. Was it going to be okay if he had gone to his friend to borrow a Lexus or borrow a Mercedes-Benz just to look presentable? Is that not going to affect his dignity as a person? You guys, let me know in the comment section, because I maybe I'm living in an archaic world, right? But I don't think that if he was qualified enough to have been referred to him, I don't think what he drove would have mattered, because we all have our starting point, right? Maybe he is qualified, but he has not really gotten his breakthrough. And Femi Otedola will be that man to give him his breakthrough. But he couldn't have driven what he could not afford at the time. But that did not stop what he had in his head. Did you guys think he was fair on that man? Okay, with that being said, let's go back to the question that I asked. When did you start your fake life? Was it in secondary school or in the university? At that time, let's even start from our high school. At that time, or in our secondary school, at that time, what was the reason for you to want to fake it? What was the reason for you to want to create an impression? I think impression has been a thing for the longest time, considering the year that happened to that man, right? So fake it till you make it had just been a thing. It's not a thing in this Gen Z era, or it's not a thing that the Gen Z brought. It has been a thing. It's just because social media wasn't a thing at the time, so we did not hear of how people were treated. If not for social media, trust me, some of us would not have heard of this thing that had happened to that man as of that year. So what was the need to really want to fake it? What is wrong to come as just the way you are? Even the house of God, do you know that the house of God that is supposed to be a place where you can come the way you are? You can't even go to church the way you are anymore. You will see people whispering, she wore that dress last Sunday. Was it not that shoe that she wore 2 Sundays ago? How this hair? She had been carrying this hair for 6 months. Why are people not allowed to just be themselves? Why is it a crime? I remember last week a friend of mine was telling me that she went to a school to inquire what it takes for a new intake. I think she had a 2 years old child son, or a year and 6 months old son. So she wanted to know what it takes for a new intake of that age. And she was told by the receptionist to sit down, just carelessly sit over there. And when she sat, few minutes later, or maybe like 20 minutes later, a lady walked in well-dressed, right? Well-dressed. When I mean well-dressed, she was well-dressed. And immediately the receptionist almost left her seat to say, "Hi, madam, welcome. Oh, you're so welcome. I'll be there with you shortly." And for some reason, that woman was attended to before my friend. That is a clear example of perception is reality. Let's say that friend of mine had more money than that woman that walked in well-dressed. But that day she just decided to just come. You know, sometimes we dress for the mood, right? Sometimes we dress the way we feel. Sometimes our mood affects the way that we dress. Let me just use that as an excuse. But is it fair for you to just treat people shabbily? Is it fair for you to just perceive people based on their appearance? Like I said, your communication also contributes to how people perceive you, based on verbal or non-verbal. Whether you speak or you don't speak, people will still perceive you. And for some reason, for this example that I just gave of my friend, I feel that creates a bitter society, and that's why we see a lot of evil things happening these days, where body parts of human beings are missing. People just leave school and never get home. They are missing because people are determined now to make it no matter what, because you get respect based on how you look. You get respect based on what you drive. You get respect based on who people think you are. You get treated nicely based on that. And that is why people are so reckless these days. I want to make it, but I don't care what it takes me to make it. Even if it means taking someone else's life, I will make it, because no one wants to be treated shabbily. No one wants to be treated like a nobody. But is it really nice? And is it a healthy thing to do? Anyways, we will keep pushing our hustle, and we pray that we do not miss our opportunity based on people's perception of us. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next episode.